Hello, beautiful creatures. My name is Quay, and this is Self Healing Tarot. I'll be sharing messages with spirit that bring us all deeper within ourselves. So, the messages that I've already received for today are about us as a collective going through a rebirth. And this rebirth is leading us to opening our heart chakras. So, there's some energies around us that are going to stir up our emotions. And with that being said, it's going to open up our heart spaces. So we're going to go a little bit deeper to see what else we need to know about this rebirth energy. Spirit, what else do we need to know about this rebirth energy, our heart chakras? What do we need to know, Spirit? Can I get one card? Just one, Spirit. Can I get one card on this rebirth energy within our heart spaces? Thank you, Spirit. The card that comes out is higher self connection. It says connect with your higher self for greater intuitive clarity. So, this with our higher self is within our subconscious, it's within our intuition. It's also too connected to our emotions. So, as we connect deeper within our emotions, it's going to bring in an energy of us opening up our heart spaces. And we're going to connect on all different levels, higher levels within ourselves. So then our perspectives, start to change and evolve. The way that we think starts to change and evolve. But this rebirth is starting within our heart spaces to bring us into a higher level of connection with our higher selves. So I'm gonna pull some tarot to go a little bit deeper within this higher self connection when it pertains to our heart chakras. What do we need to know, Spirit, about this higher self connection, our heart chakras, this rebirth that we're going through as a collective? What else, Spirit? The Two of Cups comes out. The cups represent emotions. So again, I feel as if this is confirmation on what I just said, that we're connecting with a deeper part of ourselves. And this connection is obviously like an emotional connection. So as we go through this rebirth, we are connecting so much deeper within our intuition, within, like I said, how we think, our perspective. So what else do we need to know about this connection, Spirit? Can we get a little bit more information on this connection? What else do we need to know about this connection, Spirit? Yeah, okay. So the Three of Swords comes out. And the Three of Swords, as you can see, they're swords within a heart space. So grief, pain, sadness, heartbreak had to occur, or has occurred, or is going to occur, which is going to lead us to our heart spaces opening. And I know that sounds kind of backwards, but a lot of times it takes that type of pain and grief for us to open up and be vulnerable to how we feel, to really connect to our emotional spaces. Because a lot of times we don't realize that we're so closed off and blocked within our heart chakras that grief, loss of a loved one, divorce, separation, just anything that is really deeply connected to our emotions can just open us up. And it's painful, but we got to feel it. So, what about this Three of Swords spirit? The High Priestess comes out. The High Priestess is connected to our intuition and the mystery of things, just knowing. And so, in this card, this soul is reading something. So, this heartbreak and grief is going to get us into a place to start learning how to hone in into our intuition, hone into our inner knowing. But it starts with feeling what we're feeling. And then we can start being guided to listening and knowing what it is that we're feeling and knowing. What is the high priestess connected to, spirit? What is the high priestess connected to? High priestess. Spirit, what is the high priestess connected to? Oh, okay. Yeah. Ten of Swords. So as we start to learn and hone in into our intuition, um, it literally brings us into a place of a transformation, a painful ending. We start having these realizations that how we mentally process and emotionally processed negative situations or, painful situations, grief, sadness and loss, that we're starting to realize that we can no longer operate the way that we were operating. And it's an ending to that. We're transforming within this grief and sadness. But it all stems from how we're connecting to ourselves. What else, Spirit? What else, Spirit? Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords energy is about us being alert and aware, mentally alert and aware. So as we go through this transformation, now we're in a place where now we're awakened to what it is that's going on within our mental spaces. Now we can we can actually see where all of this energy began, where it started, and how to continue to transform it. The Page of Swords is, you know, a beginner. This is the beginning stages of being aware and curious about why these things have happened and what can I do to prevent ourselves from going through or navigating through grief and loss and not allowing it to completely destroy us in the process. But all of this is literally leading us in deeper into ourselves and being able to connect with ourselves and not allow any of these energies to completely destroy us from the inside out. So then we come into the Queen of Wands energy. So as we learn and we're alert and we're exploring, you know, what we can do and where we came from, just basically all different aspects of this transformation, this rebirth that is occurring, what led us to it, how it transformed us, what can we do moving forward, the things that we learned in the process. We come into a place and we come into a place where we embody the Queen of Wands energy. And the Queen of Wands is confident. She's passionate. As you can see in this card, she's just sitting there with her wand. Things are being created by her just being able to embody and sit with her own energy and having that, just knowing that I'm where I'm supposed to be at this present moment and everything has happened for a reason. So then the Chariot comes out with the Queen of Wands. And as you can see, with these horses that are, that this soul is being transported by, is a light and dark energy. So being in a place where we're balanced within our shadow aspects of ourselves and our lighter aspects of ourselves, and that's because we embody this Queen of Wands energy, this confidence, this passionate energy, to where now we're being led to a balanced energy and it's moving quickly. What else do we need to know about the Queen of Wands, Spirit, and the Chariot? So the world comes out. The world talks about graduating, coming to an end of, at this point, learning all that we need to learn within this phase of our life and entering into a new phase. So all this is that we have to look at grief and heartbreak from a different perspective. And this will open us up to transformations, to rebirths, to being able to navigate a lot easier within these types of energies. But at the end of the day, we have to connect to our higher selves, which overall we have to connect to ourselves and feel our emotions, learn how to process how we how we think. All of it is connected. Every last part of it is connected. But our heart spaces is where it's centered. And that's why at times we don't understand why we went through or go through these very heavy heartbreak energies. But we go through them so we're able to process them, feel what we need to feel, so we can grow and elevate within ourselves. And we all go through it. And at some point, it gets easier. We don't forget. It still, can be painful, but it's not as painful. And there's things that we have to actually process and learn within these situations. So at the end of the day, we do come to a completion, this world energy. And now we can start anew, the rebirth energy, the transformation energy. And then we have the Seven of Wands. So now we can look towards what's coming, look towards what it is that's being that's being created from the completion, and being able to stand our grounds and stand up for ourselves within newer energies and newer lessons that, come along our paths. But we can stand up and say enough is enough, especially on situations and the way we think and how we, create how we create things to move us along on these paths. But now we're at a place where now we can create the strength we need to stand up for ourselves and to continue to learn and grow within these types of situations. But our heart spaces, our heart chakras are being cracked open by pain, by grief. Anything else, Spirit? And then we have the Six of Wands, moving through victoriously, moving towards greatness, you know, being able to create a path forward. And that's where we're at. We're creating new pathways. The wands represents active energy, creative energy, being able to create and move through successfully. So then at the bottom of the deck, we have the King of Cups, being able to master our emotions, being able to sit in our emotions and not allow our emotions to dictate or control us, but being able to sit in them as we create new pathways. So this is where I'm going to leave it at. I thank you all for being here with me today. I love you all, and bye.